stop anything that can impede legislation in this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the members here have amendments to the finance bill, but they have been told that under Article 114, there must be consultation with the Treasury. But Mr. Speaker, the consultation with the Treasury is supposed to happen between the committee and the Treasury, and not necessarily with the members. And this impedes now members from doing their legislation work, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember in 2018, in this House, and it's on record, it is in the hands of Mr. Speaker, I brought an amendment to the finance bill, and which was a money bill. And we were amending a clause that was putting, VAT, 16% VAT on fuel, the same thing we are doing today. And Mr. Speaker, at the beginning I was told that this is supposed to be under 114. But the Speaker then was seated on the same chair, you are seated today, made a ruling in the afternoon here, and said that let the matter be decided by the members themselves in a voting. And in the end, we agreed that let us come up from 0, we go to 8, and the executive comes from 16, they come to 8, and that's why today we have 8% of VAT on the fuel, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there was no memorandum. There was nothing. We agreed here, and the Speaker ruled that he's exempting that amendment from what Article 114. Why? Because even the Constitution, that 114 says, in the opinion of the Speaker has an opinion. The Speaker has a serious opinion, because he's the one who runs the House. He's the one who is in charge of legislation in this House, Mr. Speaker. He's the one who approves amendments. He's the one who looks at the constitutionality of matters that we bring to this House, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, first, don't lose what the Constitution has given you, which says in the opinion of the Speaker. It did not say in the opinion of the Minister for Treasury. It did not say in the opinion of the Minister for the PS for Treasury. Mr. Speaker, in your opinion, if a matter, if an amendment is of national interest, of national importance, Mr. Speaker, in your opinion, I beseech you, you should allow, members will do a decision here in one way or the other, Mr. Speaker. The amendment will be voted on, and they will decide on one way or the other. But in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, let me also add a pick from where the majority leader said, like what Honorable Makali has proposed in terms of deletion. Mr. Speaker, I don't think voting against an amendment is the same as proposing an amendment of deletion, Mr. Speaker. Those are two different things. They're not the same. They're not the same, Mr. Speaker, according to the way I understand it. Deletion means getting rid of that thing in totality, completely out of the bill. But no means it can go either way, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, even deleting you have to, that is why exactly you vote on the amendment and you also vote for the deletion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, deletion of clauses have been a tradition in this House, Mr. Speaker. The clerk here, before he became the clerk, he was the director of legislation and this other thing, what's called what? Legislation and procedure. And Mr. Speaker has been approving deletions for the last 15 years I've been here, or 10 years I've been here. Delete this, delete that. Why is deletion becoming an issue today? If you don't like that deletion, vote against it also. The way you are saying we vote against the amendment. Mr. Speaker, let us have here free, under the Article of Article 95, freedom of debate and freedom of legislation. Let anybody bring any amendments they want, let it be put on a vote, and if the vote carries, whichever side carries the vote, we agree with it and we move forward. Mr. Speaker, let us not hide ourselves under Article 114. That article is so ambiguous. It's like the one that the executive uses to guard Parliament when we normally pass bills here. They go for assent, they return it with a memorandum, Mr. Speaker, and then you are told to undo that. You have to get 2/3, Article 115. That's another one. That has been abused for the last 10 years, Mr. Speaker. It was abused in the last 10 years. Okay, Mr. Speaker, order, you see...
There's a point of order from Chikonga. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, when Honorable Junet Mohammed repeats himself over, he doesn't need to convince anyone. He just filibustering here. What he just needs is to stay to be relevant to what he's saying. But, he looks at the majority leader, then he repeats the same thing he had just said 30 seconds. Mr. Speaker, you know, you should rule him out of order. There's a standing order which is very clear, not being repetitive. And two, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't need to convince us too much. We know where he stands. Just he has to speak for 1 minute, and then he sits down, and then we will deal with the rest, Mr. Speaker.
Junet, finish, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, you know, Honorable Chepkonga is my friend, Mr. Speaker. But these 5 years of absence from Parliament, Mr. Speaker, something must be done. But anyway, something must be done, Mr. Speaker. We must do something about it, I think. But let me leave it there. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that, Mr. Speaker, in your own wisdom and in your own opinion, Mr. Speaker, I beseech that we allow amendments that have been brought by the members so that we can proceed and vote on them and see how they go, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Morogara. Just take your seat, I'll give you. Morogara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we proceed, we must distinguish between money bills and ordinary bills. And there is clear distinction, even from our own constitution, as to what are money bills and what are ordinary bills. When it comes to standing orders on winnowing, it is very clear, and this is a house of record. We have precedents on where winnowing has been allowed, where harmonization has been allowed by the Speaker. We do not have any precedent in this House where winnowing has been called for and where this House, the Speaker has allowed for winnowing to take place. The reason being, money bills are actually special forms of bills